What's going on, Internet? This is Nintendo Power Block 4, January 24th, 2017. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Dirrig, and alongside me is that beautiful, beautiful man, Edward Varnell.
Hadouken!
Oh, jeez. I'm really confused right now. And joining us, Team Nerds, Kyle Waite.
What's going on, guys? Yeah, Corey, I'm a little confused too. I don't know where that Hadouken came from, but it was full impact. He must have hit the trigger.
First he puts the collared shirt on. First he puts that collared shirt on and that sweater and pretends to be white. Now he's yelling Japanese stuff from Street Fighter.
So, are you saying that I should have done like a voice or something, like a Mario?
No, because it's racist if white people do it, but it's okay if it doesn't.
That just happened.
Oh man.
Gosh. No,
Mario.
Last week we talked. Last week we did tournament fighters. We talked about that.
Oh yeah, we talked a lot about Turtles Tournament Fighter last week. That was a good episode. That was a great episode.
Yeah.
Oh man. So
I just had to do a Hadouken.
Oh jeez, that happened. I still want to know if Ultimate Street Fighter 2 is going to be
a physical release. I swear I saw game art, like a case for it, but it also is the internet, so you don't know how true those things are. You know?
I know because the big rumor was I Am Setsuna is getting a physical release for Switch, and they came out today and said,
confirmed, right?
Yeah. So today they confirmed that that's a digital only release, which is fine because that game, I'm going to get that game anyway.
Talking about physical releases, though, Ed and I on Nintendo Pod Sessions, the Team Nerd podcast for Nintendo, we were talking about the Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia, trying to figure out if it was going to be digital or physical or what's going on there. And I found the box art for that on Amazon.com. So that is going to be a physical release. I'm super excited for that game.
Isn't it cheaper if for the digital release, though?
Okay, so cheaper after the fact. Because right now, I can get Fire Emblem Awakening, Fire Emblem Fates, Conquest, Birthright, and the third one, Revelation. What is that?
Revelations.
Revelations. I can get all of those for $20 each digitally. Or I can get, I think Awakening is $35 right now for a physical copy.
Whoa, where are you finding Awakening for $35?
Amazon,
yeah.
And then Birthright and Conquest were both, I think, $38 for physical copies. You can't get Conquest or you can't get Revelations physical at all anywhere anymore. So,
was the $19.99 for Awakening? Well, that's all digital and for Amazon.
Digital. No, that's so that's for the digital download card through Amazon, but I can also just go on the eShop on my 3DS and do it that way instead, which is so much quicker. Yes. So
because you need to play as Lo Quan.
Oh my
since
God.
You got a kid.
It's Lon Ku. We were getting the name all messed up.
Who now?
Because I didn't. They never I don't think they pronounced it in the name.
No, they did. It was Long Ku. And so here's the thing: is because I did that permadeath playthrough of Awakening, and I missed out on this character. I'm playing through Fate's Birthright right now, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do casual because I don't want to miss out on any characters this time around, and I don't have the time to put into constantly crap. Character died. Let's turn this off and start up tomorrow.
I'm so concerned right now.
Sorry. We took this and just immediately off the rails, but you know how we do, Corey.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, jeez. But if you are looking for a physical copy of something, Binding of Isaac, Afterbirth is coming as a physical copy. So that's good. That's good news.
Yay.
Did you guys play that game?
I have it on, I want to say 3 or 4 different platforms. I have it on PC. I have it on Xbox. I believe I have it on PlayStation 4 as well. But I have not played it yet because I just haven't gotten around to it. Like, it's sitting there, like, in my, hey, you can re-download this and play it if you want to. But I just haven't gotten to it because so many different games coming out. But now that this is coming out on Switch, and I'm planning on, playing a lot of the Switch games when they come out, sure, it's been out for a while, but this is like my chance to play it when it's quote unquote relevant again, if that means anything, So I'm thinking about picking it up, and maybe, if we start doing some more reviews lately, maybe giving it a quick review. So I've heard great things about it though, and I've seen a lot of gameplay clips and like theories about the character actually being dead from the beginning or something. Like, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
There's so many iterations though of Isaac Biden of Isaac.
Yeah, I know. Friend of show, friend of DNA in general, Josh Brandt, who does a lot of PlayStation reviews for PlayStation enthusiasts, really likes Binding of Isaac. So,
yeah, I didn't grab the
from
Wii
him.
U version. I might grab the Wii U version. I might try that one.
Yeah, so I have heard a lot of good things from him, and he's a good dude. We need to get him on the show at some point.
He's awesome. Yeah, he's doing Resident Evil 7 in VR. So that's going to be interesting.
Maybe we
is he
won't
going to review it in VR and do like gameplay of it?
I don't know.
Because I want to see some gameplay of someone playing it in VR, like with the, showing them on their camera, and then also like the freakouts and everything. I want to see that.
It'll probably be on YouTube, like probably by the weekend or next week.
Oh, probably.
Someone will probably do it.
You should do it, Ed. Go get a PS4 Pro and a PSVR. Do it now.
Good luck with that. I better can find it find that mug in any store in my state. Like you can't find it nowhere.
PlayStation,
but you know what?
whatever.
I'm a Nintendo fan.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about on this show?
Of course we're talking about Nintendo.
Okay, I'm just gonna try it. PlayStation PAL. Nope. Doesn't. Xbox PAL. No, it's got to be Nintendo. I've gone through all the options. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck? Like I eliminated the other options.
Yes, everybody. This is what we do on our podcast. We put Nintendo on Xbox podcast, and then we bring like Xbox and PS on the Nintendo podcast.
Oh, geez. We just, maybe we should just combine all the shows at some point and just talk about.
Okay, so that's the thing is like for you guys, you've got PAL Block, you've got your NGR radio. You, I think, Corey, you were talking about starting to revive the PlayStation podcast, DualShocked, and then you do Connected with us. I mean, and then on Team Nerd, we've got Connected, we've got Pod Sessions. It's like one of these days we need to just have a straight up all three gaming platforms just podcast that somehow doesn't go off the rails. Somehow. Yeah. That's the key part.
So pretty much a podcast. Look,
that's what a producer does,
and
none of us can either A, afford to find a producer, or B, or what do you call it? We're not good enough at keeping everybody on track, so we're not focused enough.
The answer to having a podcast not go completely off rails, first off, I can't be on it. Ed, you can't be on it, and Corey, you can't be on it. So I don't know what we're gonna do.
I guess.
I could be on it. I could stay on topic when I need to. So just
really
like to mention some other
but then where's the fun in that?
Yes. Look, boss, do not judge me.
He said it on live, not quite live podcast. Look, boss, look. Finger out and everything. Don't you knife hand me, Ed.
Oh,
don't you judge me. I will send you a milkshake later on.
Oh my god. I want a milkshake.
Okay, so we have three topics that we kind of want to talk about today. First, we want to talk about Switch's year one lineup, at least what's been announced for through the first quarter of 2018.
We were kind of talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. And then I want to talk about, what games we want to see on Switch, and then finally what we want this machine to be for us personally. So we're going to get started with this year one of Switch. Nintendo released a nice little graphic for me to read off of, so that's nice. On launch day, we're going to have Breath of the Wild, 1-2 Switch, Super Bomberman R, Skylanders Imaginators, Just Dance 2017, and then also confirmed have been The Binding of Isaac, Afterbirth Plus, and I Am Setsuna are also coming on launch day. In March, we got Snipper Clips, Fast RMX, Has Been Heroes, And then April 28th is the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yes.
Spring and summer include ARMS, Rhyme, Disgaea 5.
Yes.
Disgaea 5 looks
yes.
good. Sonic Mania, Lego City Undercover, Splatoon 2.
Yes.
And then heading into fall and holiday, we have Skyrim, Super Mario Odyssey, and then for the rest of...
I think I broke Ed.
Oh my gosh, I'm concerned.
Because I see what you did, and I'm just like... I see what you did, and I'm just like, oh, he is such a nerd. He's just so awesome.
Oh, jeez. And then for unspecified release dates in 2017, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which I think for an American release might be pushed to next year.
I can see that.
Rayman Legends Deluxe Edition, NBA 2K18, Steep, Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challengers, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, FIFA, Minecraft, and Minecraft Story Mode. And then Working Project Sonic 2017, Farming Simulator, and of course, last week revealed Fire Emblem Warriors for Switch, and also Fire Emblem proper for Switch coming in 2018. So
working title.
Yes,
I'm so excited
for
for
those
working
people
title.
for those people saying that Switch does not have games coming to it in the first year.
Oh no!
Hope you're listening to this show.
There's no denying that the Switch has games coming to it in the first year, but launching with 5, now 6 games, I think, that have been confirmed, because we just said Binding of Isaac got confirmed for day 1. Like, that just seems like a small launch window.
I answered sooner.
Yeah.
Is that confirmed for day 1 as well?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, that's right. So, like, it's just a small launch window. Like 7 games definitely sounds better than 5, and I know like the N64 only launched with 2, and I mean we see how well they did with the N64, but at the same time it's just in today's day and age you got to give people options, and currently, you know, even though I'm reconsidering buying some other games, only game that I'm buying the Switch for as of right now is Breath of the Wild, and typically I'd buy 2 or 3 games with a launch, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Ed. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think because of Breath of the Wild being such a huge game, I think that's a game. I feel like that's a game that you really can't rush. So I think with the Switch, when more games are ready to come out, I think people will probably be done with Zelda if they're trying to 100% or something. Because I'm like, you do have to add it to the fact that there will be Horizon Zero Dawn released, I think, the week before Switch. I think.
Yep.
Mass Effect Andromeda. So I'm like, you got a lot of indie games and stuff that's coming. So, but like for this launch title, I think it's pretty strong, and you know, hopefully Bomberman R does good. I'm really looking forward to Breath of the Wild.
So Bomberman they're releasing for $50. I think Bomberman should have been a $40 title. That I would have bought it for $40. For $50.
There's a 200. There's a 200 map story mode with it, though.
See, and I know that, but it's still like Bomberman in the same vein how Tetris. Like Tetris I can play for hours. Bomberman I can play for hours. But it's still a very simplistic, you know, concept. And I feel like $40 for Bomberman, even with all that's included with it, would have been the perfect price point for me. I think $50 is that $10 extra that I'm like, I don't know. So maybe I'll see some gameplay and change my mind.
I think with the return of it, of Konami, because Konami's been advertising it a lot on YouTube. I've been seeing the commercial for it.
Been really trying to get out in front of this Bomberman thing.
They must not be doing so good with their Plinko machines.
I don't think they're doing good with that Metal Gear game that's supposed to come out.
Good with anything.
So, but I think with Bomberman R, I think a lot of people are excited. They haven't really complained about price. A lot of people are just excited to play a new Bomberman. So even with the $50 price, I think it should sell well. I think if it gets like 8.5s or 9s or 4 out of 5 stars or whatever, if the ratings are good and the reviews are good, I think a lot of people are going to be interested in picking it up, because there's a lot of people who miss Bomberman.
Yeah, I'm actually one of those people. I actually really like Bomberman.
Well,
I
yeah,
know
and I do too.
I know a
But
lot of people have a lot of affinity for Super Bomberman for Super Nintendo, but I actually liked Bomberman 64 a lot. And like for me, I'm pretty excited to play Bomberman. And I know like uh people might not know who Bomberman is, but I think it's a good supplemental title to Zelda because you have your big huge open world adventure and then you have your small multiplayer experience which
right.
a lot of people would expect something like Call of Duty or something on another platform, but that's not Nintendo. And like, and on Wii U and Wii proved it that nobody's buying Nintendo for Call of Duty.
Well, but see, that's I okay. So here's the thing: is that's because Nintendo isn't the same Nintendo they used to be. With the release of the Wii, they changed what we knew about Nintendo and became this underpowered, I'm not going to say gimmicks, but motion controls was something unique and different. And
Mhm.
they tried having Call of Duty on it, but no one was buying it because nobody wanted to play Call of Duty with motion controls. And that's where third party support, was strong on the Wii, but it was also not as strong, and we weren't getting the main third party games there. We were just getting a lot of shovelware. And then with the Wii U, when they tried to bring that back, it was still underpowered. So the whole underpowered thing, like I don't care about that, but the last system that Nintendo actually competed with the other systems on for, on par power wise was the GameCube. And with the Wii,
Yeah.
Nintendo became a different company. They honestly did. So yes, we can say, that's just not what Nintendo's about. But I think they do want to kind of recapture that. They have been trying to show that the Switch is first and foremost for the hardcore gamer. And yes, we've seen titles like 1-2 Switch, which is still that party game, point the thing up and,
That
that's
still needed to be
that's
back in
old
game.
Nintendo style. I get that, but they're trying to show that this is for the hardcore gamer because the titles they have announced: Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, huge open game; Xenoblade 2, huge open game. They're showing these huge titles. They're showing a reason for hardcore gamers to get excited about the Switch. And so yeah, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's going to be a port, but it's still a great Nintendo game.
Arguably the best Mario Kart.
Yeah, absolutely. Like seeing the trailers for it, I picked up my 3DS again. I was like, I just need to play some Mario Kart right now. It might not be 8, but it's some Mario Kart.
Nintendo has
the other
five
thing,
major titles coming out this year for the Switch, which is a lot more than you could say for the Wii U for the last couple of years.
Absolutely. Like
That's pretty much on any console at this point.
They have a steady flow of games.
Mhm.
That's something that's also positive because they didn't have that with the Wii U. The other thing, though, that I'm going to say is a lot of people are kind of complaining and saying that 1-2 Switch should have been a pack-in game. But they've said if it was a pack-in game, the Switch would be $350. And again, that is a title that if it was packed in, yes, because it was packed in with the system, I would play it once or twice, and then it would just sit there on a shelf. So one, I'm glad that it's not pack-in so that I can choose what I want to spend my next $50 to $60 for. And I also think that not including it as a pack-in game sends the message, again, that, yeah, that option is there if you want it for that party game, for that, casual, but they're not putting that with the system. They're not branding the Switch right off the gate as this is the system that everyone's going to want for these ridiculous party games. They're saying this is the system that Nintendo fans will love. This is for the hardcore Nintendo fan. This is for the hardcore gamer because we're showing all these expansive titles. So
and it's I wonder if it's the more hardcore players are going to buy more of the Switch before kids can get their hands on it. Because like with the NES Mini, a lot of people who was buying the system were buying it for their kids because they wanted them to play what they played back in the day. It feels like with the Switch, since it's kind of still for everybody, I want to see if the hardcore is going to be like, we want to get you guys to 2 million sales before the kids start to give you guys the 2 million.
Well, and it's like, I want an NES Mini for me. I want an NES Mini for my daughter so that she can, like you said, play those games that I played growing up. But at the same time, with the Switch coming out, hopefully the virtual console is strong there, and I can just get those games there if I really, really want to play them again.
Right.
And I've been looking at the Switch from the get-go as, oh my gosh, I want this for me. But the more I see it and I see those Joy-Cons detached and everything, and I see the multiplayer stuff in it, like that's where I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't buy just Legend of Zelda at the get-go. Maybe I should get this for me, but it's still share that experience with, you know, my wife, with my daughter. So Bomberman, your Super Bomberman R, I'm considering it because it's fairly simplistic controls, and with the Joy-Con on its side, it's a very simple controller. And it's a lot easier to explain that controller than an Xbox One controller or a DualShock 4, you know?
Right.
So I'm looking more at some of these games that I might not have gotten for me, like even Let's Dance or Just Dance or whatever. I'm looking at that for my daughter and potentially my wife if she wants to play that. I'm considering Skylanders for the first time in a long time because for $60, that's the price of a normal game instead of paying $20 more for a Skylanders title, and it comes with enough characters to just play the game. And right out of the gate, I can co-op play that with my daughter with more simplistic controls than what the other systems have. So there's a lot that this system is making me think about that normally I'd look at a system for me first and foremost, and then later on, oh, well, how can I make this work for my daughter? But the thing about Nintendo is very family friendly. And yeah, they're showing all these great titles that I'm looking forward to, but they're also like, you know, ease your daughter into gaming is how I see them presenting this message to me. So I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. So like I feel like Nintendo they're hitting on all fronts though. I feel like you said, Kyle, like they're aiming at us, they're aiming at our wives and kids, because like this is the first thing I've gotten my wife to be interested in since Mario Kart 8 came out on Wii U.
Right.
You know, she thinks ARMS looks interesting. She thinks 1-2 Switch looks fun. And like I would totally play that with her and her sister and her sister's husband. Like I could take it over there. We could all play it. Like I said last week, that's a game I could see me taking over after we're done playing a couple rounds of Cards Against Humanity, and we could play 1-2. We could play 1-2 Switch, and like that's just a cool little.
I'm so glad you said Cards Against Humanity, because like I'm sitting here thinking, you know, when my wife and I saw that, we were both like, really? But then the more we thought about it, that's kind of our exact thought is, you know, I wouldn't play this normally for kicks and giggles, but this might be fun for like while you're doing a drinking game or something, like whoever loses drinks
and
or
I
something.
said that.
No, and like you did, but like at the time I was still so, really, is this what we're going with? But like my wife and I watched it again and we're like, yeah, this could be a drinking game.
Yeah, and like,
I think there's like a lot of games that they haven't shown from 1-2 Switch that people haven't seen or they just haven't really demonstrated. Like I'm gonna laugh to see two drunk guys trying to do a demodeling game. Like if I see that and who's trying to
the pose one or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to laugh because it's funny, because I'm like, okay, especially with people who are very competitive, they would do everything to get number one. And just to see that, it's just going to be comedic value to me. So, I mean, I feel like the people are going to get their money's worth out of this game, playing it with more people, because it's like it is a party game. And that's first and foremost that people got to think. Yeah, it might not cater to you, but I'm like, will you still be interested in trying it if you're at somebody else's house and you be like, oh, no, okay, now I'm having fun.
Yeah, I just, like, again, though, the price point of it being $50, it's going to be one of those games that if I do pick it up, it's going to be later when it's dropped to hopefully 20-ish, and then it's going to be...
Good luck.
Well, I mean, but at the same time, you know, sometimes they do. I'm hoping, but who knows? But, like, it's going to be one of those that I pick up on sale, or I pick up for $20, or I pick up later and the Switch's life, not right away. So... And then, like, I'm looking at the launch lineup and I'm looking at the games coming out for it. And I've said this before, I want the Switch to be successful, but I've also got that mindset that if this is Nintendo's, you know, quote unquote Dreamcast, if this is their last system because for whatever reason it fails, I want to have every game that I can in physical copy form, just in case. So that way, if it does fail, if it is their last system, I've got the entire library, and it's not going to be based on, oh, well, the servers have shut down, I can't play the game anymore, or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and I think a lot of people are going to, a lot of people who believe that it's not going to be successful. To make it successful, you have to go and buy the games. That works for any computer. That works for any console or any video game. If you want to see something successful, you as a person have to go out and buy it. You cannot depend on other people to buy this product and make it successful. You literally will have to go. Now, it might not come successful and you still bought it. Stuff like that happens, but you have to do that to make this console successful. If we want to see Western third party more games come on it, we have to go and buy it. Now, I don't know how. I feel like we're gonna get cheated out again from them. I hate that. I hope they don't do that, but we're gonna have to go out and get hopefully Boom Blocks 2 if EA decide to do that for Switch. Like, we have to show EA that right. We have to show EA that we want their games on this console. We don't want you to cheat us out or give up on us. We want you on our console by getting the games. Just don't feed us lesser versions of your game.
Right. No, absolutely. I just, like I said, I hope it succeeds. I want it to succeed, but just in case, I still want to have access to the library, 10 years down the road, because I don't want 10 years down the road to be looking back and like, oh, remember the Switch? Yeah, man, I missed some of those games. I wish I could find one somewhere, Like, I don't want it to be that. And even games that are going to be online focused, like Splatoon 2, I still want to have that, because if I do have that and the Switch system goes under, Nintendo stops their online, all of that, whatever, I'm pretty sure I'm still going to be able to play Splatoon with people around me if they have Switches as well, with the local multiplayer options. So, I mean, I don't know. That's just my thought, kind of trying to stay positive while still being cautiously optimistic,
Yeah,
I know. I am Setsuna is definite. Is a definite. I got to. I'm kind of ready to buy it on PS4, but when I found out it came in the Switch, I'm like, I want to hear that soundtrack on the go. I want to play this game when I'm at work, because not only does it look beautiful, the soundtrack is amazing, and I want to show Square Enix continue to bring your indie develop RPGs to this system. Make this my new role-playing game system if needed to be, because I'm all for it.
Yeah. For me, it's like, okay, so Nintendo's got the 5 heavy hitters on here, which would be Breath of the Wild. For me, at least, it'd be Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8, Splatoon, Mario Odyssey, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And then it's got a lot of good supplementary titles like ARMS, like 1-2 Switch, like Rayman, and then I know Rayman's Ubisoft, but it's got a lot of good third-party support that are very Nintendo. You see Sonic Mania, that's harkening you back to the Genesis versus Super Nintendo. You've got Rhyme, which looks very Nintendo from Tequila Works.
Oh, that looks so gorgeous.
And I think Rhyme looks amazing. You got I Am Setsuna, you got Snipper Clips, which are very good supplemental. Like, Snipper Clips looks like an awesome little puzzle game that I'm definitely going to buy. And then you've got the retro style stuff like Ultra Street Fighter 2 coming. So, like, I feel like Nintendo, at least for me, is hitting from all these little angles that make me want to, like, I don't know. I don't even know how to say it.
I get what you're saying.
It's just
and the games that were being worked on for Wii U for indies, all of them are getting switched over to Switch. It's hard to say it like that.
I see,
but
what
they're
you
getting
did
put
there.
it on the Switch, and that's going to make the library grow, because I'm just like Stardew Valley on the go. That's not on my phone or anything, on the Switch. Yeah, Stardew Valley is a big title for a lot of people, and to have that on the go, yeah, that's going to do numbers for that system.
Yeah, and like, you've also got titles like Fire Emblem Warriors, which
I'm super excited about.
Could be like, Hyrule Warriors was a good game, but I think Fire Emblem, all the things that that strategy RPG can be moved to that action style game with the big battlefields and stuff. That's like you could just lift it right out of the strategy RPG and set it in an action game, and it fits right with it. I want to see if Tecmo Koei goes as far as like using the relationship stuff, forming your armies when you go into battle, not just having one hero, but you could have like 3 or 4 heroes with your supplemental army.
Well, so the thing about the Warriors games is, Ed and I talked about this. I loved the Dynasty Warriors games, and then there's the Samurai Warriors games as well. There was the Warriors Orochi games that kind of meshed those two worlds. And in those games, you had 3 characters that you were playing at the same time. And like based on their weapon setup or whatever, you could, I think it was press the shoulder buttons or like the left and right on the D-pad to switch between these 3 characters so that you were constantly playing as 3 different characters and you could switch up which one you were controlling during the gameplay. So 3 of the characters were, I guess, hidden. 2 of the characters were hidden behind the one where you couldn't see them in the gameplay, but like you could switch between them. And I could see them doing something like that with the Fire Emblem stories because, in the Fire Emblem games, yeah, they're turn-based, tactical RPGs, but bringing that to this hyper action, adventure, game, that could lend itself in with these 3 character swaps where you choose your 3 heroes you're playing as and switch between them. And then if you did that, like we saw Crom in the trailer using like his ultimate attack, right? And in the Warriors Orochi's games, if all 3 of your characters had their ultra attack charged, you could do like a triple super combo attack. And you see that kind of in the Fire Emblem games when you are next to teammates and you both do your attack things. And, that could lend itself perfectly to this. I could see something like that. Or even if they don't do a 3 character setup, you've got the pairing where you can have 2 characters join onto one square in the game. So, Corey, I think you're right. They could do some excellent things with this based on the actual Fire Emblem games themselves.
Yeah, which like the potential for that game, I know it might not, it will probably just be like a simple, similar to Hyrule Warriors, but the potential that this game what it could be with, all the Fire Emblem stuff, like you said, Kyle, is what gets me excited. And I'm excited for it either way, even if it does just turn out to be a Hyrule Warriors clone with Fire Emblem in it. But
it's a day one purchase for me. Like,
absolutely.
People are hyped about Fire Emblem. So, to see this, yeah.
And Ed, we were talking a little bit last week on, it's coming to 3DS as well. Like, we were talking about this could be a potential experiment for Nintendo to expand their cross-buy, cross-play type stuff.
Yeah, that too.
And that could be a big potential. Like, if you don't want to take your Switch with you, you could just take your 3DS with you. I know part of the thing for the Switch is like you can make it portable and stuff, but like, if you just want to take your 3DS instead of lugging your Switch somewhere, that could be a potential for that too.
And it would be cool to connect my 3DS with your Switch and we tag teaming the dudes on the battlefield. Like, I would love to see that.
Yeah, for real. It's there's a lot of potential for this Fire Emblem Warriors, and I cannot wait for the fall.
Yes.
Like, sorry, I'm not going to be buying Skyrim. I'm going to be buying Fire Emblem. Like, and I know that's sad to say because
Nintendo.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ed.
Just say the fall for Nintendo with Switch and hopefully 3DS. It looks like another win for Nintendo for this holiday season. Like, not only are you getting Fire Emblem for those who like it, that Super Mario Odyssey, like those are going to be kind of like the 2 big major games. And I don't know what's going to be out for Xbox. I don't know what's going to be out for PS4, but at least those 2, that's if they're both $60, that's a guaranteed $120 profit already for Nintendo for that game. And if anybody who don't own a Switch is going to buy a Switch in its peripherals and 3DS to get those games. So that's already guaranteed money for those systems for this holiday.
Yeah. Fire Emblem. It's shaping up to be, I I feel like Nintendo's positioning it to be another top tier franchise for them. I feel like they're trying to push that franchise really hard. And
I agree.
Which is crazy to think that, Fire Emblem Awakening, Nintendo said that was going to be the last one for a while if it didn't sell well. And it sold over 1 million units, which
exactly.
And then from there, they released Smash Brothers and the Amiibo. And then, Fire Emblem Fates sold gangbusters. And now they're pushing it to be a top tier franchise alongside Zelda and Mario. Like, that's how I feel like they're setting this up in Metroid. So,
see, we haven't seen a lot from Metroid in a while, though. I want to see more Metroid soon. I want to see like a HD remaster of the side-scrolling Metroid games. I want to see an HD remaster of the Metroid Prime series, or maybe even just a HD reimagining of the Metroid Prime games. Maybe put all 3 games into one cohesive, the gameplay experience, the controls are the same. I would like to see something like that.
You have to me personally, you have to get to Way 4. If I'm doing 2D Metroid, I want Way 4 to do it.
Absolutely. So I mean, that's just it, though. Is like with the Switch, going forward, being as powerful as "quote unquote" a home console, but also being this portable type hybrid device. I really hope that we still do get some of those excellent 2D games, like Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds was excellent on the 3DS. And the 3DS is capable of doing a 3D Zelda. We've got Ocarina of Time 3D. We've got Majora's Mask 3D on there. Right here, Link Between Worlds is one of my favorite Zelda games because I love the top-down.
My heart cannot handle it if they put another Legend.
Oh my god!
If they do a Link Between World styles for a Switch, my heart cannot handle it.
It would be.
I feel like Nintendo has the resources to do that. I feel like now that they're focused on Switch, not only that, they can focus on pricing structure, because they can make Breath of the Wild for $60 and then give us another Link Between Worlds top down style Zelda game for 40.
Right, exactly. And I would pay that easy.
A remake, like I've been saying, I want a Link to the Past remake in that engine. And Link Between Worlds engine. I want that. And if it's on Switch,
here's what they could do. Make a new top-down title and everything, but then also include as a pre-order bonus or as the collector's edition or as whatever, Link to the Past remade. Boom, done.
Kyle, would you come visit my grave?
Remake Way Forward. I can't talk. Have Way Forward remake all of the side-scrolling, 2D Metroid games. I'm saying, other than Other M, I'm saying Metroid, Metroid 2, Super Metroid, and Metroid Fusion, because those are Metroid 1, 2, 3, and 4. Remake those and have them all be, this nice, crisp 2.5D art style. Have the gameplay just be on point. I would buy that for $60. I love those side-scrolling Metroid games.
Kyle and Corey, would you guys come to my funeral? Because I'm dead. Just imagining that right now.
Oh my gosh!
I wouldn't be here to say.
So this is going to kind of transition into our next topic. What we kind of want or see the Switch being for us. I know it's not even out yet, but what do we see it being a year, 2, 3 years down the road for us? We were talking earlier, I want Switch to be my all-in-one Nintendo console. I want to see a 3DS style game, and I want to see a console style game sitting next to each other on my shelf. Like you guys were saying, I would love to see Super Metroid 2 as much as anybody else for $40, and then you could get Metroid Prime 4 for $60, and they'd be sitting right there next to each other on the shelf, just
and that's
beautiful.
That's just it. Is Ed and I disagree on this, but this is Nintendo's handheld as well going forward. So once the 3DS has run its life course, I feel like we're going to get that. I really hope that we're going to get that, where there's still those very handheld style games that are the top-down Zeldas, are the side-scrolling Metroids, are the I'm really interested to see what Fire Emblems or Fire Emblem for the Switch is, because I don't know if this is going to be more in line with how they've been doing the 3DS titles, or if it's going to be more in line with, how they were doing the console version games before, they stopped making those ones. So
I feel like, starting in about 6 or 8 months, even a year from now, they're going to, what if the 3DS is still going strong, I could see them doing a version of both. Like Fire Emblem Warriors, we are already going to start seeing it with Fire Emblem Warriors of them making the same game for both.
At the same time, that's Fire Emblem Warriors only on the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL. So at a certain point, there is going to come a point where, yes, this game could theoretically run on the new 3DS, but at that point, is it worth putting it on there? Because that's potentially taking away sales from someone that wants a Switch, but at the same time, all the games I want are still coming to 3DS,
Yeah.
So I think, there's just going to come a point in time where, hey guys, 3DS has had an excellent run. We've gotten some great, excellent games on there. You've seen a whole bunch of great Fire Emblem games. We've given you some wonderful Mario titles, some great Zelda games on there. But the 3DS is retiring, and we're going to stop development of it. There will no longer be any releases for it after the release of X title. And moving forward, we are going to still support handheld style gaming with the Nintendo Switch, starting with and announce this title, or announce, that's what I see in 2 to 3 years.
And that's where me and Kyle disagree, and because Nintendo did say that this wasn't going to replace the 3DS. 3DS is still going to be going strong, and so I'm hoping that.
Yeah, but if you remember, they also said that about Game Boy Advance, and then within 6 months they pulled the plug.
It's not.
But you want to know why?
Though, but
that's because the DS took off so fast.
Right.
Yeah, that's the reason why, and I think the only reason why I say won't replace the 3DS, unless and this is how I want my Switch. This is how I vision, and that's why I say that I hope the Switch becomes my Super Nintendo too. I hope it comes with quirky games, Japanese games that only you can find on a Nintendo platform that you can't find on Sony or on Microsoft. I kind of want to just like independent developers doing 16-bit games on it for their indie downloads. I just want a whole range of genres, definitely from Japan, more than I want from Western third party. So they do stop the 3DS. When I get games on my Switch that's still coming from a lot of Japanese developers, and it's still that quirky fun that I find on the 3DS, if I can get it on Switch, I'm good to go. Because that's what
That's the thing, though, Ed, is I'm not saying it's going to just, the Switch is out, okay, throw away your 3DSs. But no. I do not see them, like, there is no logical conclusion as to why Nintendo would ever release another handheld console to replace the 3DS after the Switch is launched, because once the 3DS has run its life course, then there's no reason to do another handheld, because you've got your handheld right here. And then if in that line of thinking the Switch is still going strong, they announce their next Switch 2, whatever they want to call it, their next powerful console handheld hybrid thing, and then the Switch becomes their quote-unquote handheld model. They could even release a Switch Mini that is, or
a light switch,
a light switch, right. and that's the smaller one, while they're doing the Switch 2, the next version of that same concept.
The handheld system, for a lot of kids, a lot of parents kind of feel like, I don't want to put a $300 system in my kid's hand that's on the go for fear of loss. Like, some people, they don't care if they get them a 3DS and the kid breaks it or loses it. They could go ahead and get another one. I think with this one, with it being so, like, you have to have the dock to connect it to play on TV and to get a better experience and to charge it up and stuff like that, I think the charge for the 3DS holds longer, and there's a lot of kids who still carry around their 3DS. A lot of little kids won't be carrying something as big as the Switch with
Well,
them.
that's what I'm saying is, once the 3DS has run its life cycle, sure, I understand as a parent, like the 2DS is perfect for my 4-year-old, soon to be 5-year-old daughter. So I want the Switch for me because it's cool Nintendo tech. I like everything that it does. For my daughter, I will let her use mine carefully because, the controller is perfect. But then in the future, if they do create a light switch where the Joy-Cons aren't coming off, where it's just actually one whole system with a screen size of a PSP maybe or a PS Vita, I would totally go for that. And it plays all Switch games and has the support to use, Joy-Con controllers off of it if you want to sync those up. It has a little jack where you can HDMI plug it into the TV, but instead of being the $300 model, $150.
Did you think that they're in development of a handheld of their next handheld?
I don't think they're developing a successor handheld. I think they are looking at ways to make the Switch into its own handheld for after the success or whatever happens with the launch. Because I would love. They said that the Nintendo accounts now, they're going to let you have your profiles on the Switch, and to me, that kind of means that you can have your Switch games on more than one Switch console. And if that's the case, I would have my home console Switch that if I want the bigger screen or I want whatever, I carry that around. I do that at home. I do whatever there. But if I'm, wanting something a little smaller that can slide into my pocket, light switch, Switch Mini, whatever you want to call it.
I'm holding out for another handheld. That's what I believe. Oh, go ahead.
Think so.
Here's my thing. There's two thoughts going through my brain right now. One, Kyle, you said you didn't want your daughter handling a $300 machine, or parents might not want their kids handling a $300 machine.
No, Ed was saying that.
Well, okay. So kids young enough to not know the difference between that aren't keeping up with games like we are. So you could hand them a DS or 3DS and give them that, and they won't know that it's 10, 12 years old down the line.
See, right? I will argue the fact, though, that my daughter, because I love my daughter, she follows my YouTube channel. She follows games. Is
she a subscriber?
She actually would be if she had a YouTube account. I promise you. But she is so hyped for the Switch. And I pick her up from school and she's all like, "Daddy, can I watch my video that I did on Pokemon on the YouTubes?" I'm like, "Sure, sweetheart." And then she'll watch the other videos on the channel and she'll be all like, "Daddy, I'm so excited about the Nintendo Switch. I can't wait." And she is so hyped for it. And as a gamer parent, I try to include my daughter in these conversations about games. And I would believe that other gamer parents want their kids to experience that same joy that they get from gaming. So I want to believe that, yeah, sure, there are those kids out there that their parents don't know much about games, and their kids are like, "Mommy, Daddy, I want a DS. I want a DS." And they're like, sure, have a DS. But for those gamer parents, I got to believe that their kids are just as much into this as they are. So I don't know. My daughter wants a Switch for herself. She understands that the first Switch that we get is Daddy's Nintendo Switch. But she's also in the back of her head, I can tell already, just those gears are turning of how can she convince Daddy to get her own Switch, because Daddy, my birthday is coming up and I really want this, she's already doing that. So I can imagine in a year or 2 years, she says, "Daddy, I'd really like my own Nintendo Switch." And as a 6 or 7-year-old, if they have a Switch Mini, a little handheld version that's not necessarily the full-fledged console version, and she says she wants one and it's $150 for a mini version, yeah, sure, I'll get you one. No problem, kid. That's what I want to see from this. So that's what I'm hoping for, at least.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went crazy on that, but
no, it's my other thing is, I wonder if Nintendo's going to start treating your phone games as their quote handheld device now, with Mario Run, Fire Emblem, Animal Crossing, and everything else.
Looks great. I'm super excited about that.
Everything they're bringing to that. like they've always focused on console and handheld. Well, all their development can go to Switch, but they also have these supplemental titles for your phone, which parents will give to their kids.
Right.
And like, I never really because I don't have kids. So like, I'm not thinking the same way that you are, Kyle.
Right.
And I never really thought about, well, if I'm keeping up on all this, is my kid going to keep up on all this? Which you think like that. So now, like, that put a different thought in my head.
Well, that's just the thing.
See, I think of
sorry, Ed, go ahead.
Because I think of retail. I think of retail because of kids that I interact with their parents and stuff. They ask for games for 3DS. I know they're going to be asking for a Switch and stuff, and what's the hottest thing. But I deal with kids that and their parents would be like, "Well, I'm not bringing this so much of a console or this item for my kid. I rather get them a 3DS and then get them games for the 3DS."
Well,
so,
I don't want to pay $300 right off the bat, day one, for my daughter to have the newest piece of tech. Like, I'm sorry, I love her, but I'm not doing that. But in a couple of years, or, if they do come out with a miniature version, I'm all for that. And then, so the thing is, again, she is engrossed in the video gaming world as much as I am, because when we're at home, we'll watch YouTube videos about Nintendo stuff or Xbox stuff or whatever. But she's excited about the Xbox Scorpio as well. And she can't even say Scorpio very well. But she's like, the new Xbox, is that coming tomorrow? I'm like, no, princess, we gotta wait. But she hears me talk about this, and she wants to be a big girl. She wants to grow up to be like her mommy and daddy, and her mommy and daddy play video games together, and that is a part of our lives, and therefore that is, nurture versus nature. I don't know how we got all on this topic, but that is a part of her life now too, because she is growing up in a gamer household, and she sees that as normal.
I see Nintendo likes to keep their businesses separate. So I'm thinking that they're doing their best not to merge the Switch in their handheld. I think they could use. I think they could use properties. Right. I think they could use the properties with each other to keep those businesses profitable. But I don't think Nintendo wants to try to mess up any of their good business that they have with their handheld division, with their console division. Yes, all that money is going to Nintendo as one. I completely understand that. But I think they want to keep their mobile market separate. They want to keep their handheld market separate. They want to keep their console market separate, because if you see how Pokemon Go did with mobile, that affected for Pokemon Sun and Moon. I mean,
different. But then at the same time, there's still the rumor Pokemon Stars is coming to the Switch.
It's coming to Switch. Yeah.
Again, bringing that. I'm not trying to turn this into a Fathers of Nintendo episode, but my daughter, when we do story time at night, we sometimes read from Harry Potter, but the last couple of times that we've done story time, she's like, "Daddy, I want to know what happens next in Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time." So we've been playing Ocarina of Time 3D. We just got to the Gorons, and she's loving that, and that is story time to her, because I read out the text to her. We, make jokes while I'm playing. And the other day, she's like, "Daddy, what are you playing?" Because I'm, playing Fire Emblem, and I'm like, she's asking if she can watch. I'm like, well, you know what? Not right now, princess, because I haven't even played through it all the way yet. I want to know what the story is, and I don't want to get distracted.
Exactly.
And
not the only one.
So is that not for kids? I'm like, well, it's not for kids, but it's about war. It's about fighting and warriors and violence. And she's like, oh, okay. And I could tell she was sad. So I'm actually really excited about Fire Emblem here, is not just for me because I can take Fire Emblem on the go, even more portable, but because it's a very simple introduction to the systems and to the world and to the idea of what Fire Emblem is. And I can let her try that out. So I'm loving what Nintendo is doing with all of this, making everything more accessible. But at the same time, I'm not going to buy her a $300 Switch right on day one.
And I just think for a business perspective, Nintendo just wants to keep them separate. That's why I believe that another handheld is coming because Nintendo makes money with their handheld division.
Right,
It's
and
just what
that's
I'm
why
saying.
I
And
think
they
their console division has been failing. It has been failing. You cannot deny that. The Wii U commercially was a failure. Their handheld 3DS started as somewhat of a failure, but they
Mhm.
revamped new life into it. They did their 3DS ambassador program. They dropped the price. They, pushed the games for it, and 3DS is successful now. Their handheld division is strong right now, and that is why I think their console division and handheld division are one now, and we're not going to see a new handheld because and for me the confirmation of this again was when they showed that Fire Emblem Direct and they said Fire Emblem working title coming to Nintendo Switch in 2018. They showed a picture of it on the TV, but then they also showed a picture of the Switch by itself, not docked to the TV. And they said, and the great thing is, you can take this great Fire Emblem adventure with you on the go.
But see, I think because of Fire Emblem Echoes being out for 3DS, it wouldn't
That's to
make
show they're still supporting the
I,
3DS after the
yes,
Switch launch.
but I don't think I think they were just like we don't want to put another 3DS title besides Warriors. But that's like a crossover kind of game. Another full main kind of a Fire Emblem. I think they don't want to put another one like a few months down the line on a handheld. So why
Or they
not?
were developing Echoes before they got news of the Switch and didn't
That's
want
what I
to
think.
change all the resources up to put it on Switch right away. But I think at that point they might have been working on, Echoes as it was and just, excited to do more Fire Emblem games. But
Mhm.
when that announcement of, hey guys, we're coming to you because you guys do great games for the Switch or for Nintendo, we love your Fire Emblem games and we want that on the Switch. They
Well,
were like, okay, now we are going to start development on this Switch game as well. But the Switch game probably takes a little bit longer than a 3DS game to develop. I mean,
and I
you and I
I
can go on this all day. You know that. You know that.
and I think because we was even talking about on pod sessions, we was talking about I think they probably was making echoes while they were making Fates.
Like I
Because that's why we
swear,
were just
Wall
like,
Fates, they were all like, this is easy for us to use everything that we've already got, resource wise, and take this story that's pre-existing and start it
and,
up.
right, because
Right.
that's why I was just like, it's kind of quick that they just got like Face will be a year, but like down the line, Echoes is coming out because I think right now they're probably in localization, like just trying to localize it for America. That's probably why
Right.
it's taking longer. So because you would think that like you would think that game would probably come like in August or something. Like, because you would think probably like a year and a couple of months, a new Fire Emblem would come on 3DS. And I think Nintendo, because they own intelligent system, I think Nintendo made that decision to be like, you know what, this is such a good property. We're making so much money off of this. Let's put this on let's get this back on the console because let's give them a full production Fire Emblem game that let's go beyond just handheld. Let's make this a console game because we know that this is a hit title, and if it does a hit, and if it's a hit on console, then we know that we made a good business decision.
See,
That's
and
that's kind of
what I want from the Fire Emblem Switch game, and I know we've talked about this a lot already, but give me the same style, give me the same kind of like the way that everything is set up. I understand there's not the bottom screen, but give me that same style and just HDify it. It doesn't need to be, real to life looking characters. Give me the same art style, the same everything without all the sprites. Make them HD character sprite type things. Give me that, and I will be 100,000% happy with this game.
Oh, well, I think they will. I pretty think they. I think they will.
I don't need them to have because the GameCube and the Wii title, those were the actual character models didn't change. You go into combat, they're the same. You go into this, they're the same. You can give me little kind of sprite like chibi like art stylized characters on the main hub world, and then you go into the battle and you go to that switch screen where it's these two warriors against each other, and that's when you can have the more detailed character models. That's
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for that. Corey, I'm sorry. Did we take control of your podcast again?
No, it's fine.
Kyle, the same excitement that you have is what I have.
Oh, absolutely. But that's just it, though. We got off topic by talking about Fire Emblem again, but I don't see Nintendo with the Switch being out, with it being as portable as they're showing, creating a portable on top of their portable home console.
So would you be surprised? Would you be surprised that they do come out with? I don't know if they're going to announce it this year. Even though when we discussed it, I said they probably will announce something this year for their next handheld. If they don't announce it this year, but announce something next year, will you be surprised? Would you be
completely blown away and confused as to what they are thinking? Because logically, there's no reason to. There is no reason to, because they have a console and a handheld going forward. And yeah, it's a home console. It's powerful, but it's still very handheld. That first look that we got of it, guy's holding a handheld, puts it down on the table, holding the Joy-Cons. He's at and then you put it onto the TV too. Great. But with how powerful this is compared to how powerful the other home consoles are, this is a handheld that you can plug into your TV. And that's how I see it. That's how a lot of people I've talked to see it. And I really hope that Nintendo is smart enough to realize that that's how they need to see this. Like, yes, they're focusing on the console side of it first and foremost, but they also need to see how it is their handheld going forward. Because if they try to announce another handheld, I'm going to be so confused. Like, why would you do that?
And I just want to let everybody know, Nintendo Japan, just don't think Nintendo of America. Think of Nintendo Japan, because they're the ones that make decisions like that. So
I still think if we do see another quote-unquote handheld from them, it is going to be a version of the Switch that is miniaturized, more like a PS Vita size, where you can actually fit it into your pocket if you want to, and the Joy-Con things, whatever on the side, are not going to come off, but it still can use those for games like 1-2 Switch. It can still use the current Switch accessories that you have. So, I don't know. That's my thought.
It's going to be interesting. I feel like if they did another handheld outside the 3DS, like it would be a mixed message for what they're trying to sell the Switch as.
Exactly. That's just it. It's mixed marketing. And what would they call it? The Nintendo 4DS?
I don't know.
I think they're probably, you know what? I think they would probably move away from the DS. I mean, they could keep the two.
Moving away from the two screens would be okay. So now why are you doing this at all? There's nothing unique about it, and it's less powerful than the Switch. It has less buttons. Why would I buy the same Nintendo game that I can get on the Switch on this thing that's less powerful and smaller and less buttons and less uniqueness? That's what I'm like. There's no reason to. There's no logical conclusion to where they should.
Well, Nintendo makes the craziest stuff. So who knows? It might actually blow our minds to be like, goodness, I got a hot system in the Switch, and now this handheld is crazy and it's doing different things than the Switch. It may work. We shall see.
Here's the thing: if they make another handheld, they have to make sure that those games on that handheld are also available for Switch owners, because if they make another handheld, it's going to be a device that parents can hand off to their kids or something. It cannot be another console, like another handheld. It has to be a supplemental thing that parents can hand off to their kids, and those games also have to be available on Switch.
And that's why I'm saying they won't do it, because if they're going to also have to make them on Switch, they might as well just make them use the Switch game cards. And even if it's an underpowered version or a smaller size version, it's still got to be Switch architecture. It's just the only handheld I see them making forward is a Switch that doesn't have the Joy-Cons come off that's smaller.
Do you think that Nintendo and Nvidia is going to continue their relationship, and that Nvidia could be making something for the handheld?
If the Switch succeeds, yes, I see them continuing their relationship, but I see them using a stronger processor for a Switch 2 or whatever they call it.
Yeah, Nvidia will just do.
Just for handheld.
No, they won't do handheld. 3DS is the
And-
last handheld only
I hate
console.
to tell you this, but you are the only person that I talk to that believes that they will make any kind of handheld after the Switch, because everyone I talk to, they're like, oh, sweet, it's a console, it's a handheld, great. I don't need a 3DS after, they stop making games for it. Or the people that are really invested in this, they're like, oh, sweet, the Switch is a very powerful handheld console hybrid, and I can start getting Nintendo games on my phone. That's kind of like their handheld. That's perfect.
I think because
you are the
of
only person
I'm
that
thinking
believes they're going to make another handheld.
I believe they're gonna make another handheld, and because, like I said, looking at a business thing, I think Nintendo wants to keep, even like I said, even though they're getting all that money into together, I think they want to keep their console and they want to keep their handheld division separate. Yes, all that stuff.
So
I don't think they want to do that. I think they're trying.
Because the
I
reason
think,
the
I
Wii
think the
U didn't
3DS. If they want a handheld to keep going, they're going to keep making games for 3DS. They're not going to make another.
Oh yeah,
handheld.
that's gonna. I say if they end the 3DS, it probably won't be until 2019.
I could see them ending it late to mid 2018, but if they did that again, I would see them end its life cycle with a very prominent, powerful game that makes people go, "Oh, that's awesome," and then I would see them, but that very "but there's more" type thing where they're like, "But we are going to continue making these same style of games on your Nintendo Switch, and they are going to be more around the price point of what you've expected from the 3DS. You're going to see these great games for $40. Is pretty much what I'm going to see them say."
Yeah. Because I know personally, and this just may be me, Capcom and Atlas need that handheld division for Nintendo.
No, they don't, because they've got it.
Yes. Can I tell you why I believe that before? Because I know y'all gonna say no. They got the Switch. No. Monster Hunter in Japan makes a lot of money for them on handheld. Atlas makes a lot of their smaller games to keep their company up and running on handheld. Atlas and Capcom can make money off of console. Yes, even though the Switch would be a great idea for them to start making all those games, but that and their budgetary means, that's more money that they have to spend. And
Switch is
if they can make
console
money
to develop for. It is the easiest console in this market to develop for, potentially even easier than the 3DS, because you don't have to factor in the two screens. And specifically speaking, Atlas, Shin Megami Tensei, the fourth game, I believe, is the last one that was on the 3DS. And they had four, they had Overclock, they had whatever else the subtitles of were it, with the samurais.
Like a dark,
yeah.
Was it like Nocturnal? No, or there was a dark one that came out like last year.
So they had, but they had Shin Megami Tensei on the 3DS. They had the Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor, whatever other stuff. They had Shin Megami Tensei on the 3DS. We didn't have a Shin Megami Tensei game on the Wii U. On the Wii, we had, I think, Fire Emblem or Sharp, Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE, which was their Fire Emblem-esque, Persona-esque game crossover on the Wii U. But at that conference, even though a lot got lost in translation, the hype was lost for me because of a lot of things, they showed the next Shin Megami Tensei game is coming to Switch. So they are going to make their games for the Switch. They are not going to continue making games on the 3DS. And if they do,
I think they will.
If they do, it's going to be weaker versions, weaker ports of the games they're bringing to Switch.
I think it's going to be separate games.
I think I could see them making another game, but it's not going to be that game. It's going to be a separate title. It's going to be, like I said, Nintendo. Just to wrap up this little segment, Nintendo is not going to make a new handheld, but I could see them keep going with the 3DS for another couple more years, and I could see companies still making games just because there's so many out there. But there's never going to be a game, unless Nintendo specifically wants it to be, that's going to be a 3DS and a Switch game. It's either going to be for just Switch, or it's either going to be just for 3DS.
Right, and that's why, and that's why I said, and we're going to end it. That's why I believe that they're going to make another handheld handheld game because a lot of companies still, definitely in Japan, still make money off of their handheld system and not only on console. I think that handheld division is important to Nintendo, definitely in Japan, than it is here in America.
Oh,
and that's why I think they made the Switch portable, though. It's
Exactly.
because that handheld market is so important to them. And like the home console market for us is more important than handhelds to an extent. But I know that that's why Persona 5 is coming to PS3 in Japan, is because that market is not there for Japan. The handheld market is there, and that's why their phones are most of their
phones
that aren't
so freaking advanced.
Yeah, that's why their phones are more superior. That's why handheld gaming is superior over there. That's why the 3DS is so popular over there. And so that's why I think Nintendo made the Switch a portable device, so that, you know, their commutes can be played. You know, the battery life on Switch is a little questionable, but I know a lot of people will be having those extended battery packs with them, or something. Even if they did the same thing that you did, is they sold the supplementary extra
battery
power
backpack things.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, though, with the battery, is they've said 2.5 to 6.5 hours, and they said Breath of the Wild, as an example, you know, is going to be about 3 hours. But if they start doing these more mobile style, these more handheld type game styles, like Link Between Worlds, like Fire Emblem games that we've seen, they're not going to require all that extra power. And you can probably get, I mean, if they put Fire Emblem Awakening and they made a way where it was a Switch title, you know, remastered, that would probably run for a good 5.5 hours, I'm guessing. So, and that's a decent battery size for a powerful handheld like that.
Yeah.
Well, we should see in the future. I might bet with you, Kyle. Still hold, stand still.
Your hair is going to be red mohawked.
Sweet. I want to see Ed. I want to see Ed with a red mohawk.
Oh, you will. You will when Nintendo announces that the Switch is their handheld going forward.
And you will get ready to hear the lovely voice of Kyle and his guitar playing.
It's not going to happen, Ed.
Yes.
You are the only person I know that believes Nintendo will make another handheld. The only person.
And if it happens, if it literally happens, and this is a big if it happens, I know we won't revisit this discussion. I know there's be a lot of questions why, but would you still get that new handheld even though you have a Switch?
I don't know if I would.
I mean, I would, just because it's Nintendo.
Like,
I buy every Nintendo console, but
that's just it. I don't know if I would, because like, if the games are coming to the Switch as well, what's the point? If it's a underpowered version of the Switch that's a smaller size that I can actually fit into my pocket the same as a phone, yeah, maybe, if it still plays Switch game cards, but it's got to be button and feature complete to the Switch, other than plugging into the TV, is my mind.
Like
that's the only thing I see them doing as a potential handheld, is the Switch Mini, the Light Switch, whatever you want to call it, being a handheld miniature, just like the Game Boy Advance Micro, like a smaller version of
the Game Boy
is working. So I don't know.
La 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 la. That's that voice, Kyle.
Discussions.
Okay, so the final topic I want to kind of go through is I've been thinking about the Switch a lot, and I've been
trying to be the only one.
Well, I mean, in terms of like what I want it to be for me as a gamer, and like I know I'm not going to get titles like Destiny and Overwatch. I think that third parties kind of made that pretty clear at that Japanese reveal, unless you know they announced something big at E3 during one of their directs. But you know, at the same time, I don't really care if my Nintendo platform is that kind of console. So I've been trying to be more organized with my gaming, and I've been making some lists. I discussed it with Ed earlier today. I've been making lists for Xbox and PlayStation stuff, and then I've been making my Nintendo lists. And I kind of want to know what you guys want this console to be for you. In terms of what the Switch is, I want this to be my all-in-one Nintendo console. I want it to have my major Switch first-party games. I want it to have my virtual console, and I want it to have, you know, my favorite indie games on there, like Shovel Knight, like Axiom Verge, like Mighty Switch Force, like Mutant Muds. And I want to see how that all fits together, because that to me is Nintendo. So I want to know what you guys want this system to be for you as a game.
Well, like I said earlier, I wanted to be my Super NES. Now that I'm thinking about it being regionalized, I want to support Japanese indie developers, and I want their games to come to my American system. Like I feel like with with the Switch, I want it to be my new generation of games, and to be able to just to play something that I've never played in America. You know, I want something that Western third party won't touch, but these indie designers in Japan are able to take a risk and bring it to my Nintendo system. And I want them to succeed, because I feel like sometimes with third party, even if they come onto Nintendo, regardless of if it's a downpour or anything, I feel like it's the same experience that I've already done. And they, as a company, don't have no plans to move forward or try anything new. So I think with the Switch, I think I'm going to get something new. And that's what I want it to be. I want to be my new experience, not only now for America, but for Japanese indie developers.
What about you, Kyle?
So I want, and this is kind of in line with what I've been saying. I want this to be my Nintendo system. I know that's like, well, duh, but I want this to be my Nintendo system where I get my Mario games, I get my Zelda games, I get Mario Kart, Smash, Fire Emblem, Kirby. You know, I want all of those. And then I want that virtual console. I would love to be able to, any game that's come out in Nintendo's history, just digitally buy it again. Like, I have played all of the Legend of Zelda games through to completion, except for Legend of Zelda 2 and Skyward Sword. Because for Skyward Sword, I just was not feeling the motion controls. Mm-hmm. And the Switch, in its Joy-Cons, it's got all that motion. It's got all that, you know, accelerometers, all that stuff. So I would like to maybe for $20 download Skyward Sword and be able to play it with the motion controls, because I didn't do that. And I kind of feel like I missed out on that, and I would like to experience that. I want this to be my Nintendo handheld going forward, because I love Nintendo's games on the 3DS. I think they've done an excellent job there, and I want to be able to play this as a home console and then put those handheld style games, those top-down, side-scrolling, whatever you want to call them, 2D games, on my TV as well every once in a while. You know? I see this as a very, not new, but kind of a callback to how Nintendo used to be, where it looks like they're caring about the gamer first and foremost. And I want to see that continue. And I want to see this, you know, kind of be a not rise to power or whatever for Nintendo, but like a callback to what Nintendo used to be, to where they can sell enough of these to where third parties like, yeah, we'll get on board with that now. And sure, we might not get the top of the line 4K whatever on it, but I want at least some of the third party games, because honestly, if Andromeda was coming to Switch, even though I know it wouldn't be graphically as impressive, I would love to have a Mass Effect title on the Switch. I would love to be able to take that universe with me on the go. And I think that that's what one of the selling points and kind of not just unique things about the Switch, but like advantages that the Switch has is, sure, it might not be as powerful, but it's still powerful enough. So even if I don't get Andromeda on it, I would love to be able to play the Mass Effect trilogy on it at some point, you know? Like, give me at least some version of all of these amazing worlds that third-party developers create on the Switch, to where I can choose that option to take on the go if I want it, I guess, you know?
Yeah, I understand.
And I mean, agree with like, you. Yeah, like I said, I want this to be my Nintendo system, which is a big duh, but I want to see them continue to make the excellent first-party games that they're known for. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like that this system has a lot of potential to bring old games back. Like not necessarily old games, but like the last couple generations. Like we haven't had a GameCube Virtual Console yet. There's a potential for that. With all the motion stuff, they could put a lot of Wii titles on there that we enjoyed.
Like even Mario Galaxy games I never played because, I had a Wii for, honestly, I think I had my Wii for only a few months, and I played the new Super Mario Brothers on it. I played Smash on it, and something else, not even Mario Kart. But like I didn't have a regular Wii for that long because I didn't want to do motion controls, and that's what the Wii was all about,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think the Switch gives you that good option for like those Wii games. It's not the primary function of the controllers on the Switch are not motion control. Like we are going to be playing games like a normal controller would play, but you can
the technology is still in them though.
The technology is still there, so you could port games or even make an HD version of Skyward Sword.
Right.
I would love to see, the Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD both ported over.
Oh my gosh,
I would love
please.
to see, all those games, the Wii U games that a lot of people missed because they didn't own a Wii U. Super Mario
Donkey Kong Tropical
Super
Freeze,
Mario 3D World is is arguably the best game on the console. Yes. I would love people to play that.
I would love to experience that.
It doesn't like there's very specific stages that require the gamepad. But other than like you can either somehow edit those stages, map the touchscreen stuff to the button or even the touchscreen. There's a couple points where you need to use the microphone. If you need to do that, apply it to a headset or something in portable mode. Like there's different things you could do with that.
So here's my question though, for those levels, are they required for the game to be complete?
No, they are not. They're optional levels that you do not need to move forward.
Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, you could even do that, but those levels are fun. Like like I remember there's this one level in Super Mario 3D World where you have to blow into the microphone on the tablet to make these fans go up. And you have to blow on them in succession, to jump, make these very specific platforming moves.
See, and like that to you is fun, but to me that feels tedious. Like, and that's just like the different style. Like, I consider myself a very passionate Nintendo fan, but at the same time, I don't want the gimmicks. I don't want any of that. I just want the solid Nintendo gameplay. And to me, that doesn't mean blowing it under a microphone. That doesn't mean shaking my hands like this, Like, I just want the great.
Well, you can also
touch. So,
like that kind of stuff is not in every level in that game. It's only in probably maybe 10 levels throughout the whole game, and all those levels are optional. You can play through the whole game with a sideways Wii remote or a Pro controller.
Yeah, and that's how I would play it.
And so, like, even a game like Pikmin, you could put over because that game is awesome. Or Bayonetta 1 and 2. So many people did not play that game because it came to the Wii U, and that sucks because that game was awesome.
And it pretty much took Game of the Year when it came out.
Yeah. And I would also like to see some DS or 3DS games moved over. Like, okay, you're thinking that's a dual screen experience. Yes. But a company like Square Enix made The World Ends With You for phones and made it into a single screen experience, which was amazing. Yeah. Or the Switch has so many options. What if you turned, like, you hold the Switch like this? What if you turned it like this and made a special Joy-Con type controller to attach to the bottom, and you could play it like a 3DS or a DS or
actually, my friend Dirrig was talking about that.
I've been thinking about that too.
Putting the Switch down and it vertical, and we played like a barcade game. We was talking about doing something like if they did a high res version of Pong, we could play it both on the same gamepad and go like that.
Yeah, and there's so many different things that I think Nintendo could do to apply to where every game you've ever owned, every game you've ever played can finally be played on one device.
Yeah.
And whether, the dual screen stuff, like DES and 3DS, if you have to turn your unit sideways or they have to put a little work into making it a single screen experience, you know, that's something Nintendo can figure out. But like
some games, it'd be easy to do that whole single screen experience because, like, and I mean, again, first to my mind is the Legend of Zelda games on 3DS. Like, you could make A Link Between Worlds, you can make that one a single screen experience fairly easily. Because this touchscreen's mainly item management, and you know, okay, great. Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D. Sure, you've got the 2 touch buttons to activate some items, and that's item management. But those were single screen games originally. It wouldn't be too much work to take those, you know, assets they created for the 3DS versions of the game and just single screenify them. So I would love to see those again. And like you said, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD, yes, please bring those to Switch.
Yeah. Please don't bring the Switch because I'm not ready for that to be on the go. My heart is already gone for the games that's being released now and for this holiday. It'll be like Wind Waker HD. Be like, dang it, let me go pre-order this game.
There's very few games that I see them actually having that issue with. I know, Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, I see them having some issue with because of all the
touch and the drawing and
yeah. I could see them having a little bit of issue with games like that.
Well, and that's the thing is I have thought about multiple times before. I would love a version of Skyward Sword where I can just press the button. But at the same time, the motion controls were so integrated into that game that I don't see that necessarily happening. Now,
they would have to reprogram the whole game.
Exactly. So I would love to see it because I would prefer to play that game just quote unquote standard style with a controller, sitting down, you know, not waving my hands around. I feel like if they preserved the story and just quote unquote reimagined Skyward Sword, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks, I feel like those games could still give you the same experience, even though they're slightly changed based on, you know, what you're playing them on.
Yeah, I could see that, but the whole thing, especially with Skyward Sword, would be like, how much development costs is it worth putting that development cost into redoing that game?
Well, I think,
which sucks because I think Skyward Sword had an amazing story going for it. I'd never finished it because of the motion.
Right, that's same as me. I played, I want to say the first 3 temples, and I was like, I just can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, right now, no, it probably doesn't fall in that line of, do we really want to do this? But they, you know, it's been how many years since Ocarina came out, and you know, a couple years ago on the 3DS, we got Ocarina 3D. They reimagined it, they remastered it, and then they brought us, I can't think, Majora's Mask on the 3D. I feel like eventually there's going to come a point where they're like, yeah, you know what? Let's go back to Skyward Sword. Let's take that story, let's take those characters, let's take that same art style, and let's bring it forward. And yeah, we might have to reimagine some of these designs. We might have to redo some of the gameplay and reprogram some of it, but let's do that. And I hope there's a day where I can get that and just play it by pressing the buttons.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I would just like to see that game in HD too. I feel like
that
art style would really pop. And
yes.
I just,
I think they proved that with Wind Waker HD, because like GameCube emulators, not going to talk about the bad stuff you're doing with emulators if you are using them, but GameCube emulators on PCs, you've got all these YouTube videos of people, you know, this is how it looked on GameCube. This is how it looks on my super powerful PC on a GameCube emulator, and it looks crisper but the same. Then you see it on the Wii U in Wind Waker HD, and the lighting is gorgeous. How they do all the effects is beautiful, and it's like, that is how you HD a very artistic game like that. And I wish I still had a Wii U for that game, for Twilight Princess. Oh my gosh,
I'm literally going to go back to that game like right now after this podcast, because I love Wind Waker HD, and even though I think Skyward Sword is a little bit better, I will fully stand by anyone who said that it's their best game of all time. I love Wind Waker, and
I love Ocarina, and it's like quote unquote, people say it's the best Zelda game, the best 3D Zelda game, but I would argue Wind Waker is so much better than it.
Yeah.
I know the graphics threw a lot of people off, and they were calling it Zelda, you know, and like, oh, I can't believe Nintendo's doing this to us. But the gameplay, the story, everything about it was just so perfectly done.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that game.
But sorry, Corey, not to take anything. Y'all just brought some of my. Like I said, Wind Waker and Skyward Sword, and even Ocarina of Time is one of my favorites. It's just the Zelda series. It's so meaningful to me, like alone. And I would love to see those games come to Switch, and if they do have to reprogram them and they could do it, I'm all for that. I'm down for a $40 purchase of rebuying Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, and like I'm down for that. And yeah, I'm with you guys. Like, this is my Nintendo console. I just hope more comes to it, because I already know that anytime Nintendo drops something for the Switch, I'm already gonna buy it like day one.
Right.
And like even if they hired someone like, you know, the team that did Ocarina and Majora's Mask, who are they? Greco? Is that their name? Greco?
I can't remember. I think. I mean, I'm gonna power my 3DS on, and I'm gonna find out.
But to that point, like even if they like gave them these games and said, look, can you fix these games for us? Can you, you know, you don't have to change much. You just have to make sure it runs on a single screen interface. You just have to make sure, you know, Skyward Sword looks crisp, you know, even if it's only at 900p or, you know, 720p.
I don't care about your pixel count. 1080p, 720p. The Switch is
right.
720p. If all games on the Switch ran at 720p, even on the TV, I wouldn't care. And that's coming from me, who has a 4K TV and is super excited about 4K from the Scorpio. I don't need 4K from a Nintendo game, because I know that a Nintendo game is going to be amazing gameplay, amazing story, and it's just going to suck me in regardless of how graphic it is. You know?
That quality is going to be top notch, because that's what we know Nintendo to be. We know Nintendo to have that top quality that a lot of companies just cannot touch.
Yeah, and the amount of time it would take to develop those games, like redevelop them and put them on a single screen experience, enough people would buy those games to supplement that cost, plus supplement more development for Nintendo to produce more games for the Switch. So like it's a win for everybody.
Yeah,
to be honest. And like I don't care if you put it out as like 3DS Virtual Console, or, you know, hey, we're just re-releasing these games on Switch. Here you go. I see so much potential for this console actually being the all-in-one Nintendo console that we've all been wanting.
Right.
Just give me my GameCube game, so I could just run around the world and just act a dang fool who be like, yes, GameCube is here.
Oh, and just one more thing I don't need from the Switch, I don't need a 3D screen without glasses. Throwing that out there, but it needed to be said.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure, because I'm looking at the slider right now on Ocarina, and it's fine, but it's like it looks better without. And yeah, it's co-developed by Grezzo, Grezzo.
Grezzo. Okay. I said Greco. Same thing.
Grezzo. Can you? Is that shown up there? So pretty.
And they did Ocarina and Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I can go double check Majora's Mask, but I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got both of those installed. I freaking love those games.
I need to get them. I don't have them.
The only thing I want to see now from Nintendo before the launch of the Switch is I want them to come out and say, look, this is how our virtual console is going to work on the Switch, and this is how our indie development is going to be working on the Switch. And I want to know, in that
conversation, we need to know what their online is. Because the whole thing about the online with Nintendo, I own for the Wii U digitally Wind Waker HD, I think the new Super Mario Brothers U, and I swear there's one more game that I own digitally for the Wii U. But if I ever were to get a Wii U again, I would have to go through a phone call. I would have to go through like 2 hours of explaining why I don't have the Wii U that those games were, downloaded on anymore, what happened, why I sold it, and why I got a new one, just to get them to, okay, we've reinstated and you can go to your Nintendo store now and it's resynced to this account with your My Nintendo and your whatever. I want on the Switch, since they're saying the Switch can have different profiles, I want to see them use a similar format to what Xbox and PlayStation have been doing, to where you can download games on these devices. I think they are, but I need to hear them say it,
Right. I think that's what, DNA is developing for them, right? Is that online infrastructure. And that's why, eventually we're going to have to pay for it.
Right.
And they said they were going to let us know.
God, that sounded like a shameless self-plug right there. That's what DNA is developing,
I know. This is what I'm developing in my spare bedroom of my apartment is Nintendo's online infrastructure. I don't know if you guys know this.
I mean, like even Reggie the other day was in an interview where he's talking about how, the Nintendo hasn't had a very successful online history, and he knows that. And that's why they are charging, is because they're going to be charging, they can use that to develop a stronger internet and ecosystem type setup. So,
and he also came out and said that they're going to let us know beforehand how your existing virtual console is going to work on this new console.
We're not ready to comment on that yet, is what they've been saying. But at the same time, there has been a lot of rumor of that you can pay a smaller fee to upgrade them to the Switch versions.
Which is fine, which I will totally do that, because I did that on my Wii U for a lot of games, so I wouldn't have to go into Wii mode. All the Zelda games I did that for. I think most of the Mario games I did that for. Like, I have no problem doing that as long as they get it right this time.
Right.
So
just do it in the King Cooper direct when they do the parental controls thing. Do like a silly little video for online.
Oh my gosh, that video was adorable.
It's so fun.
Little Bowser dropping the Switch controller, just the dark light, and then it's like goes from the thought bubble to better not do that.
Oh man.
Well, see, that's the other thing is, again, going back to talking about, my daughter in this equation, is there's a part of me that wants to get a Switch just for her, so that I don't have those parental controls set up on my Switch saying, okay, I've been playing for 60 minutes, time to get off. I don't want to see that on mine. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I just I hope they get Virtual Console right, and I hope, there's so many indie games that I want on Switch that, they're a little bit older at this point, but I would still like
a successor to Shovel Knight.
Oh yeah,
I mean, because
they are
the way they've been doing it, though. The way they've been doing it is that they're just doing expansions. They're not necessarily sequels; they're expansions.
We'll probably get one.
They've already supplemented themselves. They have small team. They have two teams now, where one is working on expansions while their main team is working on their next project.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think probably within 2 years we'll have a new one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think their original plan was to do 8-bit Shovel Knight, which was this one, and then 16-bit, and then Shovel Knight 64 was their third project. I think what a lot of rumors, and I think they actually came out and said that at some point. But
that's actually really cool.
So I would totally be down for a 3D giant Mario 64 style Shovel Knight game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I would.
So. Shovel Knight, though, has that been confirmed as a physical release or
no?
Just digital?
It's funny because I went to their customer service because I wanted to know if Shovel Knight was coming as a physical release, and they said I emailed them and they got back with me within a day, and they said we have no plans to release Shovel Knight as of right now as a physical release, but we have been getting a lot of emails asking if they were, and they asked me if I wanted Shovel Knight as a physical release on Switch. I said, yes, I would love Shovel Knight as a physical release on Switch.
Yeah, I would buy it as a physical release.
They said they're considering it, but they have nothing to announce at this time, which tells me that they will eventually release I bet once all their expansions are out, they'll release
a complete
Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, like a Shovel Knight Ultimate Edition with all the expansions on the cart.
Yeah,
I would love that. I would buy that day one.
I mean, that only makes sense to do it.
Yeah. yeah. So I'm excited for more Shovel Knight. Not gonna lie. I really want Axiom Verge to come to Switch, and like I know they just ported it to Wii U, so I could see them doing it. But
yeah, I think if he works with the team who did the Wii U version, I think they could port it over to Switch.
Yeah, so I would love.
I've heard excellent things about that game. So
I already have it on Vita and PlayStation 4.
PS4.
And I skipped the Wii U version purposely because I thought maybe they would port it to Switch.
Right.
So that's like the one game I really want on Switch, is because like it's so good, man. If you have a chance to get it cheap or buy it anyway, you should just get it. Yeah. Hyper Light Drifter.
I want that to come on Switch.
Yeah, Hyper Light Drifter was one that I really wanted to come to Switch. I want N++ to come to Switch. I want
Telltale, get your things on Switch now. I want Batman Volume 2. I want the second season on Switch.
Yeah, I can see the Telltale games being a good fit on Switch. I mean, they announced Minecraft Story mode, so
they probably gonna put Guardians of the Galaxy on Switch. They should.
Yeah, they should.
Sorry, I'm just reading I'm reading the Axiom Verge. Tom Hatt came out and said, I think it looks great, though I question why the marketing is focused exclusively on making big screen portable games that doesn't depict 3DS style games. One of the missteps of the Vita seems to be assuming that everyone wanted portable Uncharted, when in fact most of them wanted smaller, quirky, or indie style games. So I hope in the future they show some of those kinds of games, and I would love to put Axiom Verge on Switch eventually.
Yeah, I think he will.
So, yeah. I mean, it looks promising that Axiom Verge is coming. I would love to see Hyper Light Drifter.
Well, see, here's the other thing about these is I know that it's probably unlikely, not going to happen, but just like how I want Shovel Knight as a game card, I would love all of these indie titles as like little $20 game cards. Mm-hmm. That would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. I would love it. Like, let's see, another game I could see coming that would be perfect on the Switch, I feel like, but I doubt it because he's kind of a I don't know.
Yep.
The Witness, I feel like would be a really good Switch game.
Jonathan Blow.
Yeah, I don't like that guy. Like, he just seems like he's really into himself.
Sleazy.
Pretentious.
I feel like Bastion would be an awesome Switch game.
Bastion would be excellent.
Hyper Light Drifter, I think, would be an awesome Switch game.
See, but here's the other side of the coin, and I agree with you on these. These would be great Switch games, but again, a lot of the stuff that we've already seen for the Switch is, this game has already been out for a while, or this is...
And that's what I'm worried about. Like, a lot of these games would be perfect on Switch, except for the fact that they've been out for so long.
Right,
like,
so I want to see the new stuff.
But that's the same thing that goes with Xbox One and PS4. It's just like, these games have been out on Nintendo consoles, so why even port it to the other systems?
Yeah.
What do you mean, Ed? What do you mean by that?
Like Shovel Knight, like that's been on a Nintendo console for almost a year before they even got into PS4 or Xbox One. But I'm just using the argument saying that, well, why would I get it if it's already been on this console? Like, if I already bought Shovel Knight on 3DS or PS4, and Wii U, why do I need it on PS4 and Xbox if they didn't have the exclusive stuff?
Well, and that's just the thing, though, is
that reason.
A lot of people don't have a Nintendo console.
And a lot of people only have one console.
I don't have a Nintendo console. I'm very fortunate to where my wife and I both have our own Xbox Ones because that's where we basically play. And we have 2 PS4s in the house because sometimes we play with friends that only have PS4s. But we don't have a Wii U in the house. I've got my 3DS, but I don't use my 3DS for those indie games because, honestly, I get my 3DS just for my Nintendo games, and those indie games, like, I'll pick them up on potentially my Xbox.
But I'm just using that logic for the question that you had, like, why bring the Switch if I already own it? I'm just saying that's vice versa.
I'm saying, like, they're already out. Yeah, they're already there. Yes, The Switch does need more in its library, so bringing some of these games over could be good for the people that haven't played them.
Plus a lot of indie developers, the more places you have your game, the more places people are likely to spend money on your game.
So there's nothing wrong with bringing them over, but at the same time, no, they're not going to be system sellers. But
they're good supplemental titles.
But what I'm worried about is that we're not seeing enough new. This is coming to Switch day and date, same as the other consoles. You know.
Mm-hmm. So, like for new indie games and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. Games I would love to see on Switch, which there are some that are coming that I'm excited for, like Oceanhorn, that Zelda-like game.
I got it when it came out, and it's too much of a copy of what Legend of Zelda is that it kind of frustrated me. No, it's not bad, but it how much of a clone it tried to be, it just turned me off, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does fit a very Nintendo-esque style, so I'll give you that one.
Yeah, Never Alone was a Metroidvania-ish style game where you were this Eskimo and this little white wolf, and you followed the wolf around the world and did some cool stuff. Earthlock, that Xbox One.
Yeah, that I had some fun game with that for a few hours.
Apotheon, which was a really, really cool Metroidvania-style indie game on PS4. Transistor, I would like to see.
I want to see Igarashi's new game, Bloodstained Symphony of the Night. I want to see that on Switch day one.
It's coming to Switch.
That just looks gorgeous. And then on top of that, I want, again, in that line of I want those old school side-scrolling 2D or 2.5D games. I want them to take all the Castlevania side-scrolling games and remake them with that same kind of art style that Iga's using on Bloodstained. Oh my god!
Konami.
Konami wouldn't do that, but I would die. I would be like, yes.
If Konami did that, that's why we're getting Bloodstained. Konami won't.
Can I tell you this?
Exactly.
If Super Bomberman R is successful, that could possibly happen.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think
I could see Nintendo going to them and being like, "Look, we will help you fund a new Castlevania game."
Yes.
Or at the very least, we will fund HD remakes of these with, exactly. Oh my gosh. I want those.
So, other game, I kind of want to see, I would like Super Meat Boy on Switch. I would like to see Darkest Dungeon. Fez was okay.
There was a screenshot that someone took of the UI where it was showing off like a black background instead of just the white one that we've seen on most of the UI stuff, and it was showing off 1001 Spikes.
Yeah, it's been confirmed.
Yeah,
it's coming.
So okay.
So those are just kind of like some of the indie games I would like to see on especially Hyper Light Drifter and Axiom Verge. Those are two very old school Nintendo-esque, really beautiful pixel art that would look great on a handheld.
Right.
Because I think the guy who made Cave Story, I think his games are also coming to Switch also.
Yeah, Cave Story 3D is coming.
Did we ever get... So, again, I haven't been with the Wii U. I haven't had one for a long time. So I'm kind of not as, I guess, educated as what's on there right now. They had NES Remix, right?
Yeah.
And then the 3DS got a smaller portable version of NES Remix. Is there a Super Nintendo Remix yet?
No.
So I would love to see on the Switch multiplayer with the Joy-Cons being on their side. They're basically an SNES controller, but with a analog stick instead of the D-pad. I would love to see SNES Remix duels or something where it's like a versus type.
Like a two-player type remix.
Yeah, I would love to see something like that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They're probably announcing at E3, like if they do a direct.
Yeah, I bet there's going to be something like that for sure. I mean, I think Nintendo wants to get this initial allotment of games in development and rolling before they start announcing more stuff. Because, like, I know we're all on Switch overload and we want, like, so many games on here. But, like, you know, Nintendo's got to take, like, I feel like Nintendo has a lot on their plate already for Switch in that they want to have enough to give us more excitement in the summer.
Spread it out.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that I'm really happy that they are spacing things out so that here's, you know, what you can look forward to in the next coming months. And it's like, there's not going to be a dry spell on the Switch from what we can see so far. And the other thing I'm really happy about is all of the games that didn't necessarily have release dates that were just, coming in 2017. Some of us expected, okay, late 2017, whatever, but they are coming and saying, this is actually going to be a launch title as well. So that small, there's only 4 games. Oh, now there's 5 games. Okay, now we're up to like 7 or potentially 8 games coming out on day one for the Switch. I like that they're slowly coming forward with, okay, it's not just 5 games. There's more than that. So
I know some of them said within that launch window, like after launch, like 2 or 3 weeks, a new game would come out.
Right, and like even Mario Kart 8 is still within launch window time, and that's a big game for them, and I'm excited about that. Splatoon 2 being summer, that's still technically kind of launch window. I mean, that's what, 4, maybe 5 months max away from launch. I'm okay with, okay, yeah, Splatoon 2, that's a pretty big game. That's still within kind of that launch window time. And I know that it's coming out about this time, so I can know that about this time I need to have $60 ready for it. So,
right.
I mean, it is nice that we know that there is going to be a flow of games coming to this, a steady stream, if you will. So that's a good positive that I can give them.
Yeah, I'm reading this thing right now. Hyperlight Drifter skips Wii U, but the developer is optimistic that it will find its way to Switch. They want to see how initial sales are and everything, but before they port it over to see if it's worth it for them. But it looks like they want to port it to Switch, depending on the success of the indie scene on there.
I mean, that's a positive thing, at least.
Yeah. They said with the infrastructure that they see is on Switch, it would be relatively easy.
Well, and that's what I've said. Like, a lot of developers have been saying the Switch is going to be the easiest current gen console to develop for, So that's a strong point in its favor as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like a lot of these games are going to end up coming to Switch just because, like I said earlier, if you're an indie developer, you want your game as many places as possible.
Right.
And we're seeing that. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's going to, I think, wrap up this discussion. Right. That sounds like a good place to stop until later this week. Okay. So we're going to wrap up this episode. Thank you so much for joining us on today's POW Block. Remember, you can always find the show every Tuesday and Friday on the DNAnetwork.net and on our YouTube page. Like, subscribe, and share. Kyle, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter @_my name is Kyle. If you guys enjoy podcasts, you can also find, for the most part, Ed, Corey, and I on www.teamnerd.com or youtube.com/teamnerd. Man, it's been a long day.
We record a lot of podcasts.
We do. youtube.com/teamnerd. That's N3RD, all one word. And is it okay if I talk about the thing we just launched, Corey? Is that okay?
If you want.
So we also just recently launched our Patreon. So if you would like to support us and help us get our podcasts on SoundCloud, you can go to www.patreon.com/again, Team N3RD.
Ed, where can we find you?
You guys find me on Twitter @thatretrocode. You can hear my podcast, Optional Opinion, on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, the Numbers Radio Network, .com.
Did he go robot voice?
iTunes, Google Play, shout. And you can friend me on Wii U under Optional Opinion, all one word.
Yeah.
Google is acting a mess at the moment, so.
I feel like you went robot voice on that pretty good.
Well, here's the thing about Google Hangouts. Sometimes if we can't hear them, it'll still pick it up through Google.
Yeah, no, I've noticed that before.
So like, even if it stops or goes weird for a minute, it'll be fine. The audio will be fine. But speaking of audio, this show is also going to be coming to iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play soon. I'm working on that right now. And you can find me at CoreyNHD on Instagram and Corey Hudson in HD on what's that other one? Twitter.
Twitter.
I can't think today. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and until next time, we love you.
Bye, everybody.